Right. So this is your character background, is it? I'm 37 pages of backstory. And your character is level 1, I see. Okay. Um no, it's fine. It's good. Is there a is there a half page version? Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Campaign Creator Series. My name is Guy and the episode is sponsored by World Anvil. WorldAnvil.com, providing us with all the tools we need to create and manage our campaigns successfully. Today we're looking at taking your PC's backgrounds and enhancing them and adding them collectively to your plans and plots. How do we do that? How do we bring it together? Well, generally, by now, you should be prepping and ready for session 1 of your campaign. You had session 0 a couple of weeks ago. You've been tweaking and adjusting since. You've been creating battle maps. You've been getting ready. You are now almost ready to start. But you need your characters' backstories. If your players haven't given you backstories, you need to ask them for some. Even if it's just a single note, even if it's just shorthand, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, get them to give you your backstory. Now, traditionally, I get bombarded with random emails, with bits of chat, with little snippets from Facebook. Suddenly there's a Discord message. Then I get a WhatsApp saying, oh, I also want my character. This is their background. And it's like, whoa, 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 wait. I can't remember whose backstory belongs to who. I'm not going to put this all together. That's not my job as the game master. My job is to look at your character's backstory and A, approve it, B, enhance it, and C, maybe change it a little bit to fit my campaign. Those are kind of the 3 reasons why I want your backstory. Any more than that, and it becomes way too much work for me. I'm already running the entire campaign. I don't need to run your character as well. That's where we then start to look at, okay, how do we do this? And it's a simple case of saying, hey, everybody, give me your character backstories as an email, labeled your character's name. Send me one email, and that's it. So make sure that whatever you put into it, that's it. It's done, complete, sorted. Imagery, all that kind of stuff, put it into there. That's okay, absolutely fine. But, and again, because World Anvil sponsored this, but also because it's a really useful tool, I'm going to switch over to the interface. There it is behind me. This is what you now see when you're logging into World Anvil. And there are characters. They now have heroes. Heroes is this really powerful Facebook tool for your characters. So here is a character, Alad Krotz. Alad was an NPC that I created for my Ghosts of Saltmarsh campaign. The NPC was very popular with fans, so we decided to start his own little heroes page, if you like. But he also serves as a great example for a character. Let's go and have a look at about Alad. So this would be the backstory, the history that we get for Alad. Alad was born to Bar and Ollie Krotz, the 10th son. They'd hoped for a daughter, hence his name Alad, which is short for another lad. Something Bar was said to have groaned at the birth. He grew up in Saltmarsh as a rough and tumble boy, but unlike his brothers, Alad didn't stop growing. At 6 foot 9 inches, he is a large man. Not the world's greatest backstory ever, but at the same time, he's not an orphan. His parents seem to still be alive, Bar and Ollie Krotz. And we've got a little bit of his journey. He's 6 foot 9. He's got 10 brothers. He doesn't have any sisters. Okay, or 6 foot 9, I should say. Weighs 210 pounds. Tower of muscle, human male, no brain. He works for the town of Saltmarsh as a guard. Okay, great. If we got this as a character submission, then of course there's the character sheet, which hasn't yet been loaded up. We've got some equipment that he might have. We've got the gallery. These are different images that the player has sourced to represent this particular character. There's even a journal in here that the player hopefully will be writing in, which you can pop into and have a look at from time to time. And of course a history of major events. So when we then go into this whole character, as storytellers, how do we now use this as DMs, as game masters, as narrators? Well, let's start to unpack it. And what I like to do is I always go back to our someone wants something badly and is having difficulty getting it. What does a lad want badly and what is he having difficulty getting? It doesn't tell me in his background. It doesn't tell me anything along those lines. If we go to his appearance, okay, a lad is built like a bull, thick muscles seem to bind thicker muscles together. Okay, so that's physical experience, blah, 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 blah. Mentality, nothing filled in. Personality, motivation. He was raised to be a good boy, and that is what he intends to be. Do right by others, keep your nose clean, and see justice done. Don't break the law. He ultimately wants to find someone to settle down with, although he isn't sure what he'd do once he's settled. He doesn't want to be like his father Bar and just sit in a field and grow plants all day. That seems boring. He cannot abide liars. He feels personally attacked when someone tells him a lie and he finds out. I don't think there's anything under social status. Okay, so we're starting to get a little bit of a better picture of this individual. So now that we have this backstory, now we can start to unpack it. He's got 10 brothers, no, he's the 10th son. So he's got 9 brothers that we can work with. Could they have scattered to the 4 winds? Could one of them have become a smuggler? One of them could have become a bandit? Okay, so we can park that away. We know that Bar and Ollie Krotz live on a farm because that's what his father does. He doesn't want to become like his father who grows plants. So his father is a farmer. That gives us a farm to work with. Could the farm be in jeopardy? Yes, it could. Let's just go back there. So could the farm be in jeopardy? Yes, it could. Could one of the brothers be in jeopardy? Yes. Could one of the brothers require a favor? Yes. These 9 sons, I think something that could be of benefit would be for us to ask the player to now give us the name of each of those brothers. It's as simple as saying, hey, just fill out the names of those lads, if you don't mind, so that you then have them. What I also like about this is that you can then link them to specific campaigns. So they link to certain towns, they link to certain areas. There's all kinds of things. You can also embed these into your campaign code or your campaign master guide that you have so that you can access these at any time and you can come back and you can look at these. What we need to understand, though, is that each of the characters we should go through and sort of kind of get a feeling for. You don't have to memorize the backstory of the characters. You do not in the slightest. But by having it in the back of your mind that, okay, so Alad has got these 9 brothers. The next time the party comes across a bunch of thieves and they chase them to a warehouse where they've got them trapped, how amazing would it be if you stop at a critical moment and say, Alad, your blood runs cold when you realize that the thief lying dead at your feet that you have just slain when you pull his mask off is none other than your brother, another lad. I mean, sure, you can do whatever you like, but if they give you a name, you can then put that name in there. By linking the thief to the character's backstory, the character's player is going to have their mind blown. They are going to be instantly invested in that entire narrative, and they are going to want to know what's going on. They're going to want to follow that through and see where that plot goes. And at the end of it, they're going to walk away going, well, my poor old brother, another lad, died, and I was responsible, so I have to go back to the farm. I have to go and tell Dar and Ma that I killed another lad, but he was doing evil and bad things, and that was not something that we could allow to happen. Now you've got some real character development, and all it took was for you to read through the character's backstory. There's not a huge amount here, though. We would definitely say, okay, well, let's unpack this. Yeah, you grew up in Saltmarsh as a rough and tumble kid, but you also started growing a lot. So, right, let's unpack this. Give me something more. Give me some incidents that happened in Saltmarsh. Now, we know from the roleplay that a lad can't swim. He had a nickname as Sinker, which came through in the roleplay. So hopefully this will be updated and then that will be added to the character. Not a huge amount, but it does mean that, okay, they're afraid of water. We can now start to bring that in and unpack. Again, I like to just break them down, find my first hook. So this is the other thing. Don't try and hook everything into your campaign. Don't go, okay, I'm going to have an adventure for that, I'm going to have an adventure for that. Find the first thing that appeals to you and then just park it in the back of your mind. For that character, they've got a story of a dragon necklace. For that character, they were born on a starship that crashed and they are afraid of plasma fires. That particular character saw a murder and is now afraid of knives. Just choose one little component which you can just store in the back of your mind so that when you need to then drop them in, when you need to seed them into the story, they are there for you to go with. Once you've done that, once they've played through that and they've kind of explored it and you've gone on to the other players' backstories, their character backstories, then when you're ready to come back and you go, okay, cool, I finished that one and that one and that one and that one, time to go back to Alad because we haven't played with Alad's backstory for a long time, you can then go to the next piece and say, okay, cool, well, let's look at some more of his backstory, maybe let's look at some of his personality. Okay, he doesn't want to be a farmer. What happens if he inherits the farm? That's interesting. Right, so Bar and Ollie die. Does it have to be tragic? Depends on what type of campaign you're playing. It depends on your theme. It depends on all kinds of things, as well as on how well you know that player as to how well they will take it. But what if Alad now inherits the farm? It's an interesting point, and hopefully the player of Alad will pick up on it and will decide, is my character going to retire? Is my character going to go and get revenge on the people who killed my parents? Are my brothers going to fight me for the land? Where's it going to go? If it looks like the player is being forced into resigning their character, you need to have those other now 8 brothers come rushing along and try and fight for rights. Or one of them comes along and says, well, actually, it's mine, I inherited. And then they get killed. And then there's a murder mystery. And then it leads to another point. And it leads to another thing. And then eventually a duke arrives and says, actually, this is all my land. You're all legal. Here's the deeds to prove it. And so, so again, not being overwhelmed, not trying to do it all at once, just taking it step by step. That, I think, is the most assured way of building the backstories into your campaign, building the backstories of the players into adventures that suddenly get the player characters and the players invested. One step at a time. Don't try and take 50 steps. Don't try and take 100 steps. You want to take it just one step at a time. Anyway, until next time, I wish you and yours the very happiest of campaign creation. I read as far as the bell. And I like the bell, but I can't subscribe to this idea that your character slew the vampire on their own without the help of anybody and then forgot it all because of, there was a shipwreck or something in page 29, the shipwreck where you single-handedly steered the ship for 6 days to safety, only to be thrown overboard because they thought you were one of the pirates, and so you lost your memory and thus all your levels, so that by page 37 you wake up in town and you're no longer the head of the Assassin's Guild of the ancient city. Now you are just a level 1 commoner. We're going to have to look at this.